right. There's a lot been said about these podcasts, and here we are kicking our own off with Vinyl to Viral. But I really want to kick this off with some comments that Tyler, the creator, actually said not too long ago about this podcast culture. So he said, I think we give a lot of people who aren't smart and just want attention platforms to be loud and incorrect, and other stupid people follow them. Everybody with a mic is crazy. I just think that is gross. So it's like the loud and incorrect, definitely resonates for me strongly. I also kind of feel the same way. So I can't knock what he's saying. But what were your thoughts about Tyler, the creator, talking about, the podcast culture and it being loud and incorrect and too many people with a mic?
Everybody with a mic is kind of wild. And here we are. But I think that's why we're going to do this introduction and tell people who we are, what we're about, and that we're not new to this. Between me and you, we've done a lot of public speaking, been on a lot of stages, and this is just the evolution of what we've done. In the community, but also in other parts of the world.
And also what we've been asked to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So we definitely don't come. But you want to talk a little bit about
I'll go in. My name is Bobbie Reyes, and I am a generational misfit. I am on the cusp between Millennial and Gen Z, so I kind of have core memories of both. But technically I'm Gen Z, but I got a lot of Millennial in me. I am second generation Filipina. So my family came here actually through San Diego. That was our first stop here in the States from the Philippines, and then made our way back to the Bay Area. So I was born in the city, San Francisco, very Bay Area. That's me. I was a city kid and eventually made my way to UC Berkeley. Berkeley was my launching pad. I was the first in my family to go to a traditional 4-year university like that, not to mention the #1 public school. So go Bears. And that was a really pivotal moment in my life, and still being a young person, that was really an experimental phase for me. There were 3 things that I was involved in when I was in school that I thought I was going to get into, right? I was doing public speaking, I was doing sports, and I was deep in startup culture. I helped put myself through school, and that's sort of how I got my start in sports, working in sports. I was in the last season with the Raiders in Oakland. So that was a huge thing that I'm proud of being part of the Bay Area, was the fact that I got to be part of that organization, work with them before they left for Las Vegas. But being in sports helped put me through school all year round. And that really helped me focus on my startup and public speaking stuff. The first time I ever got paid to do a public speaking gig was actually here in New York. I think I was maybe 18, 19, and an organization flew me out, all expenses paid. I'm in Times Square, the whole thing. That was the first time I ever got paid to be on stage. And I was only on stage for like 2-3 minutes. But I was like, I think I could do this. I have a voice. I have something to share. And that was like my moment that just propelled me. So from there, from New York, I went to go speak at the Commonwealth Club in the city. Dreamforce. For Salesforce, which is a huge tech conference. And then I also went to go speak to the babies and talk to them about their dreams and their passions. And that was always my message, just finding your thing, finding your place in this world. And that's been my theme. So that was my public speaking, career. I did Cal TV, started to produce. And then on the side, I was also in startup culture, because I was like, okay, I'm speaking, but I'm also really invested in like business and the leadership of. So I have to also be a business owner and put that cap on. I was hugely invested in the startup community at Berkeley. I started to even teach at UC Berkeley Extension. A lot of people don't know that, but what messed me up was COVID, because I was like doing all of these things. I teaching startup classes. I was traveling the world, I was speaking, and then COVID happened.
The pandemic was something.
And it stopped me in my tracks, like everybody. A lot of things happened. And so
then a lot of people created podcasts, right?
Exactly. So we're here, right? That moment had to make me pause. And like a lot of other people are still recovering from that. We're trying to find out how the economy is. That's why I feel like this podcast is so important to me, is because I feel like I'm getting my second wind again from when I graduated in 2020 to now, in the last 5 years. I've been doing a lot of community and economic development work, which we'll talk about. Like you and I have worked together with the LA Sparks. I've worked for the government doing community engagement. But in this moment, why this podcast? I feel like for my generation, it's so vulnerable for me to say that I'm still coming into my own, that not everything is figured out, that I'm making pieces work. I'm fixing my puzzle pieces and I'm making sense of my story now. And I hope that this podcast, other people that are transitioning or still finding their place can also feel seen here, because I'm not 20, 30, 40 years into my career where I can thread a story. I'm writing it as I go, and I've done a lot. This podcast is part of the piece. I always wanted to be a Filipino Oprah. And that's a huge dream.
Shout out to Oprah.
Shout out to Oprah. I mean, I don't want to be like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. If it comes to that and I get to, bless people like that, great. But it was really more about talking to people, asking powerful questions, talking about how we learn and grow together, getting vulnerable so that we can come up and show up and be our best selves. So that's what I hope for this podcast to be. That's a little bit about me. And I'm really excited to work on this project with you, Q.
Man, no. I couldn't ask for a better co-host, a partner in this thing. And for me, it's been a long time coming. I've always wanted to do one. Growing up on south side of Chicago, preacher's kid, same church as Jesse Jackson's, being able to be around some of the best speakers, some of the best historians, some of the brightest minds, some of the biggest folks who had to use their voices to be seen. For me, the foundation that I started with created this opportunity and the path that has now become my life. My ability to be able to sit back and now narrate some of those stories and opportunities were big for me. Growing up in that era, during the time where we were making ourselves known in music, known in sports, being the smartest on the block meant that I got to stay away from the trouble, but also be the person that folks came to, even at a younger age, and whether it's my grandparents, my parents, or the folks on the block, the rappers, the ball players. And I made my way to Northwestern University, and there my life had really changed. Right? That was the first time that I had access to opportunities. I got to see the world in a different way, even though it wasn't too far from where I grew up, born in Northwestern Hospital. Being on that campus was a top 10. So you shouted out the #1 public school, Northwestern. We number 6 right now, right?
Oh, competitive.
Most definitely. Proudly purple as well. I would say being at Northwestern during the time when we went to the Rose Bowl and we started to have players that started to get drafted, they'd come to me and say, "Hey, Q, this is a new world for us. Can you look at these things? Can you look at contracts and stuff?" So that started a new career, even while I was in school, of starting to think about what management life would look like for NFL, NBA, and then eventually WNBA players, as well as rappers, producers, and writers. So I got thrust into these opportunities during the time when we were all really trying to figure it out. Then I made my way into New York, and I started to really start my business and found my mark managing Broadway kids. It was one of those opportunities where seeing the kids in Lion King, seeing the beautiful black and brown babies and being like, oh, shoot, this is a whole different world. Yeah. But those folks, really being managed by their parents, moving from different parts of the country to help their children chase the dream. So that's how I really got my start into management. I mean, having all these speaking engagements, speaking at colleges, universities, shout out to Northwestern, shout out to Stanford, shout out to Berkeley, allowing me to come in and share all of my life in the different parts of my life, where I was like, okay, I do have a story to tell. Yeah. And not just a story, but I have a way to narrate and story tell these different opportunities that I really saw the generation getting behind and in ourselves, foster and cultivate, not necessarily having to go to some different law firm to figure out, or some big agents, being around when LeBron first made his entrance into the NBA, being in the room to really start to usher this next generation into it. The folks that got into management, into music, and in the business side of things. So I'm excited because I get to drop these gems, share this knowledge, not hold it. Too many people are holding these things so that we can continue to put ourselves up. But for me, it's being able to pass that baton to someone like you, who I know will carry it. Will be that Oprah, will have those opportunities to take the voice and take the opportunities further. So truly appreciate, you being my partner in this thing, and us being able to impart what we have, the wisdom, the knowledge, to the rest of our audiences and to anybody across the world. So thanks for doing this with me.
No, I'm so excited. We're going to have so much fun. We're vinyl to viral. Let's talk a little bit about how we got to that name before we sign off. Vinyl to Viral was really a play on our generations. What I find it so like compelling to do this project is because it really embodies how I've also learned throughout my life. Like I have friends that are, of course, peers, but also I've always had friends that were 10, 20, years older than me and have treated me like a little sister, and friend, but also just gave me game so early. The first time I ever actually moved from the Bay Area was to LA. I made a friend out there. She's still one of my closest girlfriends. She's 20 plus years older than me, but I always joke that she always taught me how to be an adult. Like a real adult. Nothing sweat her. She was like, I've seen too much. She was like, when I would come to her with my problem, she'd be like, it'll all be good. And that confidence to say, no, you're straight. Like this moment is so small. And I just trusted it because of how confident and fly she was. Like she was just like,
we've seen this movie before.
Yeah, exactly that, and I hope that we're going to definitely do that here in our podcast is to knowledge share. And even like my greatest mentors, they've shared, information with me, but they also ask me good questions, which makes me feel like I'm part of this, that I can also contribute and share back to other generations and other people from different walks of life. I mean, between me and you, we're on different parts of the country, grew up in different parts of the world, right?
But you grew up on TikTok, and I'm still trying to figure it out, right?
Don't get lost on that and doom scroll. But that's a little bit about, our Vinyl to Viral, a generational play. Like I said, asking powerful questions and ones that help us find common ground and also feel like we're supposed to be here.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things that I've always said, especially talking to the youth, is I don't know what I'm not supposed to do. So until someone tells me I'm not supposed to do it, do I actually have that, thought in my mind? I hear and know that from you as well. Like you just keep going. Our lived experience comes from, a rough beginning. Impoverished. It's not like we grew up rich or any of those things. Our journeys still kind of mirror one another. With age, you get that wisdom. We've seen this movie before, being able to impart that on the rest of you all so that you all can go bigger and further than us. And we actually mean it. Like I'm from a generation that actually means that. Like, we really want y'all to be better than us. We really want y'all to take advantage of the internet technology, all of the advancements that we have in front of us, and also profit from it. Because when we talk about the work that we do in Lighthouse in terms of community economic development, we really want folks to have economic empowerment and then mobility. There's so much that you all have at your disposal now and the right types of tools that you can take advantage of that and you can change the trajectory, especially when it comes to wealth in the U.S. Love that you're the viral side, because eventually you're going to get to the vinyl side too. And then you'll be able to pass it on to others. So y'all stay tuned. We got a lot for y'all in this upcoming season, our debut season. We're going to have some guests. We're going to talk about our experiences. We've already been off to a great summer. So y'all just stay tuned.
Yes. And subscribe anywhere you find your podcasts. Vinyl to Viral.
All right, let's get it.